want to kind of get into, for people who don't know, how the lending works, how the lending kind of model plays out a little bit.
Sure, sure. So TLDR, we're built on top of Morpho. Morpho is pretty much the biggest lending protocol, which allows you to create pools permissionlessly. Let's say if you think of Aave, in order to list a new asset on there, you'll have to get a governance approval. So for us, for every market on Polymarket, we'd have to go through the governance process, which is ridiculous, and nobody's going to allow that. For Morpho, you can just like create instances of those contracts, which gives us some infrastructure which has been audited and like battle tested by a lot of capital. Like Morpho has, I don't know, 3 billion, maybe like 5 billion TVL right now, and then we can mint those for like specific instances for every topic, right? So in the very core primitive, we have those pools which have two tokens. One token is USDC, or to be accurate, USDC.E, because that's what Polymarket uses under the hood, actually. I think USDC.E is like a legacy token left from back in the day from when Polygon didn't have like a native USDC token, so it's a bridged one. Very weird, like crypto style UX, but we abstract that all away. So one token is USDC. The other token is an outcome token, right? So maybe it's like, say, yes on JD Vance becoming the US president in 2028. And in order for you to borrow USDC, you have to supply this yes JD Vance token, and then we let you get some USDC out of the pool, which we transfer to your Polymarket account instantly. So you don't even have to like redeposit it back into Polymarket. You just like have your cash balance increase there. And then so where liquidity comes from, right? So where those USDC appear, we have funds. So funds are essentially Morpho vaults. These are collections of different markets. So like, let's say maybe there's yes on JD Vance, but then there's also no on Taylor Swift becoming top musician. Then there's also, I don't know, yes on Weather in San Francisco being a certain degree. And lenders allocate their capital to the vaults, to those funds. And then these funds, which are being managed by us, they automatically redistribute it across the pools, which is how it currently works. This is a pretty, I guess, rough version of what we want to do. So Morpho obviously has its own constraints. And because of that, we're not able to fully customize it. Otherwise, we'd have to build our own protocol from scratch, which we might do eventually, because I think at the end of the day, there are some very custom features we need for those prediction market tokens, which are not available in like traditional protocols. But as of right now, given that they're on Morpho, we're a bit constrained by that. And so with Morpho V2, the next version of Morpho, which comes out I think early next year, we'll be able to do P2P loans, which would be first off, peer-to-peer rather than peer-to-pool. So no more of this weird like liquidity rebalancing. Then it's also going to be fixed interest rate. Right now, the interest rates are fluctuating based on supply and demand, which is interesting for us because we can see how price sensitive the users are. But eventually the users would probably want something more stable. And then after that, those loans are also multi-collateral, which is very interesting for us. So instead of borrowing against a single token, you will now be able to borrow against multiple tokens at once. So let's say you have like your whole Polymarket portfolio, maybe like 10 or 15 different positions. You bundle it all and you borrow against all of those tokens, which helps both lender and the borrower. So for the borrower, your collateral is now less volatile, right? So if a single token goes down, you might still not get liquidated, and you'd prefer not to be liquidated because it's always not something you'd want to do. But now, like, your volatility is a little bit minimized because of the diversification. And then for the lender, you're also more protected because now it's not just a binary outcome. You're not exposed to those directional spikes where market resolves in an instant, right? Instead, you have this bundle where you can liquidate the remaining positions if one goes to zero. So yeah, that's the plan. So current implementation, peer-to-pool, fluctuating interest rates, rebalancing liquidity across funds. Next version, peer-to-peer, which like those funds will essentially be taking the counterparty of that, and then multi-token collaterals, fixed interest rates.